Welcome to our deep dive this week. We're going to be looking at the crypto markets.
Okay.
Specifically, the week of March 3rd to the 9th, 2025.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you, it was a roller coaster.
It was.
We had President Trump tariffs, even the ghost of Matt Gox.
Yeah, they all decided to make an appearance.
They all decided to make an appearance. It was a big week.
It really does highlight how intertwined the crypto world is with global events and traditional markets. We saw political announcements directly impacting prices, economic uncertainty, triggering sell-offs, and of course the internal dynamics of the crypto space itself.
Yeah, and to guide us through this tangled web,
Right.
we've got three main characters to watch.
Right.
Bitcoin, our old reliable, going on a wild ride.
Of course.
Ethereum trying to keep up.
Uh-huh.
And then there's Solana kind of stealing the show with some impressive gains this week.
Yeah, Solana's performance is definitely noteworthy.
For sure.
It suggests that even amidst volatility, investors are seeking projects with strong fundamentals and real-world utility.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Okay.
Starting with Trump's crypto bombshell.
All right.
So initially, the market went crazy when he announced a U.S. crypto strategic reserve. Bitcoin shot up other coins like Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Cardano all got a boost.
Yeah.
For a moment, it seemed like the government was finally embracing crypto.
Yeah, it's understandable why the market reacted that way. A government-backed reserve could signal legitimacy, potentially leading to wider adoption and even price support if they were buying up Bitcoin on the open market.
Right.
So there was that thought.
There was a lot of excitement.
Absolutely.
But then came the twist.
Oh.
The reserve would be stocked with seized Bitcoin, not new purchases. It's not what everyone was hoping for.
This really emphasizes the need to look beyond the headlines.
Yeah.
You know, the specifics of policy decisions are crucial in such a volatile market. It also raises interesting questions about the implications of governments holding large amounts of Bitcoin.
Okay, so that's a great point. Does it undermine the decentralized nature of Bitcoin?
Yeah.
What kind of control does it give governments? Something to think about.
It is something to think about.
But before we get too deep into that, let's move on to the next curveball.
Okay.
Tariffs.
All right.
Trump slapped tariffs on China and Mexico,
Yeah.
sending shockwaves through global markets, and crypto didn't escape the fallout.
Right. This is a classic example of risk-off sentiment.
Okay.
Essentially, when economic uncertainty rises, investors tend to flee from riskier assets like crypto and seek refuge in what they perceive as safer havens,
Okay.
like government bonds or gold.
Oh, so that's why even our star performer Solana
Right.
experienced a significant intraday plunge alongside Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah, they were all down together.
Yeah, Ethereum and Solana were down as much as 25% at one point.
Yeah, it was a big drop.
A huge drop.
It underscores that crypto, while still a relatively new asset class, is becoming increasingly integrated with traditional finance. Global events have a very real impact, and crypto investors need to be aware of these macroeconomic forces.
For sure. Okay, let's zoom in on Bitcoin specifically.
Okay.
What a wild week it had.
It did.
That initial surge with the reserve announcement, then the disappointment-driven plunge, and finally a bit of a recovery.
Oh, a bit of a recovery, yeah.
We're talking a peak near $92,000.
Yeah.
A drop to about $84,979, and then potentially ending the week near $90,000.
So almost back where it started?
Almost back where it started. I mean, that's a lot of movement for 1 week.
It really is, and it raises questions about Bitcoin's role as a safe haven asset.
Oh, interesting.
Some argue that its limited supply and decentralized nature make it a hedge against inflation and economic uncertainty, while others point to its volatility as evidence to the contrary. So it's an ongoing debate.
And now, with governments potentially holding large amounts of seized Bitcoin, the whole debate takes on a new dimension.
Right, exactly.
What does it mean for Bitcoin's future? What does it mean for you as an investor? I guess we'll have to keep watching to see how this unfolds.
Absolutely. The story of Bitcoin and its relationship with governments and traditional finance is far from over.
Right.
It's a developing narrative that will continue to shape the crypto landscape.
For sure. Speaking of developing narratives,
Yeah.
let's talk about Solana, our unexpected champion this week.
Yeah.
So while other coins were taking a beating, Solana was racking up a 25.64% gain.
Pretty impressive.
Some analysts are even predicting it could hit $500 by the end of the year.
Wow.
What's driving this success in such a turbulent market?
Well, Solana has a lot going for it.
Okay.
Its blockchain is known for its incredible speed and scalability, capable of processing thousands of transactions per second.
Really?
It also has a thriving ecosystem of developers and projects building on its platform.
So it's not just hype. There's substance behind the price action.
Exactly. And this leads to the Ethereum killer narrative that's gaining momentum.
Okay.
You see, Ethereum, despite being the second largest cryptocurrency,
Yeah.
has faced challenges with scalability and high transaction fees.
Okay.
Solana, with its speed and lower fees, offers a compelling alternative.
So is it possible that Solana could overtake Ethereum in the long run? Is this the beginning of a new era in the crypto space? It's a pretty bold question, but I think it's worth considering.
It's certainly a possibility.
Yeah.
Ethereum has a large and established community, and it's constantly evolving, but Solana is a serious contender.
Right.
The next few years will be crucial in determining which platform emerges as the dominant player.
Okay, well, that was quite a week. We've already covered some major ground with President Trump tariffs and the rise of Solana,
Yeah.
but we've only just scratched the surface.
Right.
There's still a lot more to explore.
Right. We touched on the decline of meme coins earlier, and I
Yeah.
think it's worth diving a bit deeper into that.
Okay.
Remember, we saw transaction volumes on Pump Fun plummet a staggering 94%, and the overall meme coin market cap took a significant hit.
Yeah. It does make you wonder, doesn't it? Are investors finally realizing that hype-driven trends don't always translate into long-term success? What do you think is happening here?
It's hard to say for certain, but this shift could signal a maturation of the crypto market. Investors might be becoming more discerning, recognizing that hype isn't enough. They're looking for projects with solid fundamentals, real-world utility, and strong teams behind them.
So it's like the Wild West of crypto is starting to get a bit more organized.
Exactly. And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
A more regulated, fundamentals-driven market could ultimately benefit everyone involved. It creates a more stable environment for innovation and long-term growth.
Okay.
It's like separating the wheat from the chaff, so to speak.
I like that analogy. But even with this shift towards fundamentals, there's still plenty of excitement in the market.
Yeah, absolutely.
Remember that bullish Bitcoin prediction from Standard Chartered?
Oh, absolutely. That was a big story this week.
Yeah.
For a major global bank to come out and predict Bitcoin could hit $500,000 by 2028, that's a significant statement.
They even said it could reach $200,000 by the end of 2025.
Wow.
If that happens, it would certainly erase the memory of this week's volatility, wouldn't it?
It would indeed, and I think it speaks to the growing institutional risk in Bitcoin. More and more traditional financial institutions are starting to see Bitcoin as a legitimate asset class with the potential for substantial returns.
It's almost like a seal of approval, isn't it?
Yeah.
When banks start getting bullish on Bitcoin, it makes people pay attention.
I think that's a fair assessment. Their interest often signals a shift in perception.
Okay.
From viewing Bitcoin as a speculative asset to recognizing its potential as a store of value and a hedge against inflation.
Right.
And remember, this comes at a time when central banks around the world are printing money at unprecedented rates. It's no wonder some investors are looking to Bitcoin as an alternative.
That's a really interesting point. It puts the whole Bitcoin narrative into a broader economic context.
Right.
It's not just about the technology itself. It's about the global financial system and the search for alternative assets.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What role will Bitcoin ultimately play in the future of finance?
It's a question that many are grappling with.
Yeah.
From individual investors to central bankers. It's a fascinating time to be following this space, that's for sure. But let's not forget about the other big players in the crypto world, the whales.
Ah, yes, the whales. Remember that story about the whale who made a cool $6.8 million by perfectly timing their bets on Bitcoin and Ethereum? Talk about being in the right place at the right time.
It was a savvy move. No doubt they bought in just before President Trump's reserve announcement and rode the wave of the initial market surge, selling at the peak.
Wow. It does make you think about the influence these whales have, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Their trades can move markets, create opportunities, but also potentially manipulate prices. It's a double-edged sword.
You're absolutely right. It's a reminder that the crypto market, while becoming more mature, is still relatively illiquid compared to traditional markets. Large trades from whales can have a significant impact, and it's something investors need to be aware of.
Speaking of influential figures in the crypto world, we can't forget Michael Saylor, the Bitcoin maximalist extraordinaire. His proposal this week was quite something.
It was certainly bold, suggesting that the U.S. government buy up between 5% and 25% of the entire Bitcoin network.
Wow.
That would be a seismic shift in the global financial landscape.
It would be a huge endorsement of the cryptocurrency, potentially stabilizing the market and signaling to the world that Bitcoin is here to stay.
It would indeed, and Saylor's argument is that it would be a strategic move.
So
Positioning the U.S. as a leader in the emerging crypto economy, he believes it would not only benefit the country economically, but also geopolitically.
it's certainly a thought-provoking idea.
Hmm.
I'm not sure how realistic it is, but it does spark a fascinating debate about the role governments will play in the future of crypto.
Absolutely. And it ties into another significant event this week.
Yeah?
The White House Crypto Summit had government officials, industry experts, and even a few crypto celebrities all gathered to discuss the future of this rapidly evolving space.
It seemed like the summit focused on some key topics: regulation, the role of stablecoins, and of course Bitcoin's potential as a reserve asset. Did you get a sense of where the U.S. government is headed with its crypto policy?
It's still early days, but the summit clearly demonstrated that the U.S. government is taking crypto seriously. They recognize its growing importance and are actively trying to figure out how to regulate this space effectively.
That makes sense. They can't ignore it anymore. Crypto is here to stay, and how it's regulated will have a massive impact on its future. But it's a delicate balance, isn't it? Too much regulation could stifle innovation, but too little could lead to more scams and instability.
You've hit the nail on the head. The challenge for regulators is to find that sweet spot to create a framework that fosters innovation while protecting investors and ensuring the stability of the financial system.
It's a lot to consider, and it makes you wonder, what will the crypto landscape look like in 5 years, 10 years? Will we see more countries adopting Bitcoin as a reserve asset? Will decentralized finance become mainstream? Will we all be using crypto for our everyday transactions?
It's hard to predict the future with any certainty, especially in a space as dynamic and rapidly evolving as crypto. But one thing is for sure, the journey ahead will be exciting, full of twists and turns, and we'll be here to guide you through it all.
For sure.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, we still have more ground to cover in this wild week of crypto.
Right. We've got to talk about Mt. Gox and that massive Bitcoin transfer. Remember, they moved $1 billion worth of Bitcoin this week.
Ah, yes. The ghost of Mt. Gox returns to haunt the crypto market.
That's right. Mt. Gox, the infamous crypto exchange that collapsed back in 2014, suddenly decided to move $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. What does it mean for the market? What should we make of this?
Well, it definitely has the potential to create some waves. Large movements like this can sometimes spook the market, leading to uncertainty and price swings. It's like a whale surfacing. After years in the depths, you never know which direction it's going to swim next.
And given Mt. Gox's history, I think people are especially on edge.
Yeah, you never know what to expect.
But hey, let's not forget about the other headlines that caught our attention. This week we've talked about meme coins, fading institutional interest, growing governments, grappling with regulation. But what does all this actually mean for you, the listener? How do you make sense of this crazy crypto world and navigate it going forward? Any advice for our listeners?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? This roller coaster week really underscores a few crucial points. First, crypto is becoming increasingly intertwined with global events and macroeconomic forces. It's no longer this isolated niche market.
Exactly. Tariffs, political announcements, even whispers from a defunct exchange like Mt. Gox, they can all send ripples through the crypto market.
Right. So staying informed is more important than ever. Pay attention to the news. Not just crypto-specific news, but global news. Understand the forces at play. And remember, don't just rely on social media hype.
Do your own research, dig deeper than the headlines. And just because someone with a lot of followers tweets about a coin doesn't mean it's a good investment.
I couldn't agree more. Another key takeaway is the importance of recognizing cycles and trends. We saw this with the meme coin phenomenon. What goes up often comes down, sometimes very quickly.
Right, FOMO, fear of missing out. It can be a powerful motivator, but it can also lead to bad decisions.
Absolutely. Don't chase pumps. Focus on projects with solid fundamentals, real-world utility, strong teams, a clear vision. Those are the projects that are more likely to survive the ups and downs and deliver long-term value.
Which brings us to, I think, the biggest question looming over the crypto world: regulation, the White House Crypto Summit, is a clear indication that governments are starting to take this space seriously. What are your thoughts on regulation? Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a complex issue, that's for sure. It's not a simple black and white situation. Governments are realizing they can't ignore crypto anymore. It's here to stay. The question is, how do they regulate it in a way that fosters innovation while protecting investors? It's a tough balance to strike.
Will it stifle innovation? Will it create more stability? Will it pave the way for wider adoption? I mean, honestly, no one knows for sure, but it's definitely something to watch closely. Any thoughts on what our listeners can do?
Well, I think it's important to stay informed about proposed regulations and try to understand their potential impact. Maybe even get involved in the conversation, reach out to your elected officials, advocate for sensible policies that support responsible innovation. Your voice matters.
That's a great point. Don't just sit on the sidelines, get involved. The decisions made now will shape the future of crypto for years to come. And finally, I think it's important to remember that this is a marathon, not a sprint. Crypto is still in its early stages. There will be bumps along the way, maybe even more roller coasters like this week.
Right. Don't get discouraged by the volatility or the headlines. For those who are patient, who do their research, who believe in the transformative power of this technology, the future is incredibly exciting.
This week might have felt like a wild ride, but it's just a small taste of what's to come. So buckle up, stay informed, and keep exploring this fascinating world of crypto.
And remember, we'll be here each week to help you navigate the twists and turns, break down the complexities, and make sense of it all.
That's it for our deep dive into this crazy week in crypto. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and as always, happy hodling.